Good evening, and welcome to this Thursday edition of Up Late with Sion Marshall. Thank you so much for joining. Now, as promised, when I spoke, when we had the last show, I did mention that the week would be a bit busy for me, and so tonight's program isn't live; it's actually a recorded program, and it is a recorded program. Actually, I'm showing you one of the programs, one of the shows I had back in 2018. Back then, it was a season finale. Uh, the program was about the reintegration of offenders, Vincentians who had done crime, been convicted, sentenced to prison, done their time, and were now back in society. And how difficult the discussion centered around how difficult or how easy it was for those offenders to be reintegrated in society. For that show, I had someone who was a past student of mine, a young man by the name of Barry Mascall, and he told us his experience. We also had a psychologist on the show, and I think, and Pastor Blake, who discussed the issues surrounding how the society treats uh, these individuals. Actually, no, it might not have been Pastor Blake at all, but we were dealing with the idea of recidivism. That's the big word that I learned that night. So tonight, I am going to ask you to sit back, relax. You may not have seen this show before, so this is your first opportunity to see it. And you might just find that it would be a rewarding one. Up late, where do we go? Yes, Up Late with Sia Marshall begins right now.
And now, your host, Sion Marshall.
Good. What's happening here now? Right. Right. Good night and welcome. Welcome to the season finale of Up Late with Sion Marshall. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for showing up. We're really, really happy to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for that dance routine that just happened a while ago. It was fantastic. And we did something different tonight because it's we're trying to go with a bang, all right? Now, I am sitting there watching the dance routine and thinking, Lord, I hope he don't drop people, children. But the fantastic job, really. Kudos to you. I thought of doing some dancing when I was younger, but let's not get into that. All right. So again, welcome to tonight's final episode of this season Up Late with Sion Marshall. It has been a phenomenal ride. We believe it's been 15 episodes. What started as an idea is now blossoming into a must-see almost. And people stay up every single Thursday night, even when they're sleepy, to be a part of our show. And I'm really, really happy, and I'm really, really thankful, and I'm really, really proud of what we've been able to achieve so far. Tonight's episode, we are going to take a look at a very significant issue that is really dear to me, and something that I was prompted to do based on my own experience. So tonight, we have three special guests. There was supposed to be a fourth, but he was unable to be here, and he really apologized. But he said, you know what, Mr. Marshall, next season I would definitely be on your show. But tonight we're going to look at second chances. There's no secret that a few months ago, late last year, I had my own issue that saw allegations being leveled against me. Now, mind you, I've vehemently from the very beginning denied those allegations. But I came home and it's as if, in my own opinion, from my own experience, I found that it wasn't only allegations, but I was convicted, I was incarcerated, I was guilty, I was everything. And with that came something that people don't pay a lot of attention to. It's called stigma. And so with that stigma came a lot of barriers. I remember last year, I had applied to a regional institution for a job, or early this year. And I reached out to a friend of mine, a contact of mine at that institution. And, I was asking, what are the chances? I applied and so forth. And without asking me anything, period, the contact said to me, you know what, Sion, maybe you should start thinking of self-employment because those allegations are very serious. And this organization wouldn't want to associate, or based on their unwritten policy, to associate with people with those type of allegations. And I thought, I thought to myself, they are only allegations, which I've denied. But here it is, a regional organization, without saying this publicly, is basically saying, don't even apply, because with those allegations, we're not even going to hire you. Doesn't matter how qualified you are, how experienced you are, and even the fact that they are wrong, that doesn't matter. The allegations hanging over you, there's a stigma associated with those allegations, and so that's it. Up late, as I said before, was born out of two things. One, my search for purpose, and two, my search for employment. But think about it this way. Sion Marshall, an educated individual, he has 2 master's degrees. He's experienced, he's done business, teaching, diplomacy, name it, he's done it. But with allegations comes death sentence. He, however, with support from friends, family, and loved ones, was able to buckle down, find strength, along with their support, and create this avenue. So it got me to thinking, what happens if this is the difficulty I am facing on allegations only? What happens to people who've been actually convicted? Think of a young man, a young woman, 19 years old, gets in trouble with the law, goes to the court, is convicted, is sentenced to prison, spends 2, 3, 4 years of their lives in prison, comes out, he or she is 23, 24 years old, with a prison record. We're not talking allegations now, we're talking prison record. And as our guest you'd see in a while said to me, St. Vincent Small, the minute they start moving you around and you're seen on the back of that truck in the orange suit, you're done. What then happens when that young person comes out of prison at 24, 25, with no master's degree, no experience in business or in whatever, and they are refused a second chance?
Denied.
What then? Tonight, we hear the story of one such person. We also hear the information from the ministry that is charged with assisting these persons during and after their release. And we have a discussion with one of the institutions that's partnering with the ministry in providing support, training, life skills for individuals who are being rehabilitated into our society. Tonight, we talk rehabilitation and reintegration here on Uplate with Sion Marshall. Don't go away, because when we come back, we talk with Mr. Barry Mascall. We'll be right back.
The future stars of Wendy's will showcase their talents in the 2018 West Indies Under-19 Cricket Tournament, August 3rd to August 30th in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Matches will be played at the Park Hill playing field, the main Arnesville playing field, the Sign Hill playing field, and the Cumberland playing field. Who will be champions? Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, the Leeward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, Canada, or hosting the Windward Islands. It's the West Indies Under-19 Cricket Tournament, August 3rd to 30th. Come see the future stars of Wendy's. On Friday, August 31st, join the Friends of Sign Hill Inc. on the boat ride. Denims and White aboard the Golden Sunshine from Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn Pier number 9. Boarding time 6 p.m. Departure 7 p.m. sharp. Tickets at $40 available from any member of Friends of Sign Hill Inc. Music by DJ Super Eyes, D1 Entertainment, and DJ Laga. It's the boat ride. Denims and White. For more information, call 917-560-0432, 347-262-8014, or 646-248-3995. For Denims and White, you don't want to miss it.
And welcome back. As promised, here with me is a young man I know quite well. And as our discussion develops, you know how and why I know this young man. But please, let me welcome and help me welcome Mr. Barry Mascall. Barry, good night. All right. And Barry referred to me as Mr. Marshall. Now everybody else calls me Sion on the show, you know. But that kind of gives you an insight into the history of Barry. Barry, how have you been?
All right.
Is Barry's mic on? Okay, all right, it's on. All right, great. You've been doing okay. You're quite grown from the little boy I taught years and years ago at St. Mary's RC. You were a student then in the common entrance class. Present boy. But what happened since St. Mary's, Barry?
Well, since leaving St. Mary's, when going into secondary school, I started to get a bit of trouble. I used to hang around with particular crowds because of the fact when I just started secondary school, I used to be bullied a bit because of my complexion, my hair. So I used to like try and get a bad boy persona. Like people would more like hate me and that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Because of my company, essentially you become the company you keep. And I ended up going down a particular road that made me end up dropping out of school at only Form 2.
So you dropped out of school at Form 2?
Yes, sir.
Now, how many secondary schools did you do? Because you dropped out in Form 2, that meant you spent 2 years in secondary school. But in that 2 years, you went to different secondary schools?
Yes, I started off at, well, as you know, in St. Mary's, when I was in primary school, I was a well-rounded kid. I was studying my books and everything.
Right.
But then going into secondary school, went into St. Martin's, the bullying started a bit, and that led me down that road. And when I left St. Martin's, I was forced to leave St. Martin's in Form 1. I went to Emmanuel. And then I started to pick back up in the book, but at the same time, I continued to follow that same road, seeking friends that bad boy persona around me to get that kind of image.
Yeah. Okay. So you essentially were thrown out of secondary school.
Yeah.
At what age was this?
This was around 14.
14.
Around 14, yeah.
What exactly was there for you to do as a 14-year-old out of school?
Well, there are not much opportunities because of the fact that my father was a very hard-working man. He was a good provider. He had to spend thousands of dollars to help me go to computer classes, get certificates and these things. But eventually, I ended up in a little problem later on in life. My house burnt down, so I lost all of these things. Yeah.
All right. So later on in life, Barry, you got in some trouble with the law, which led to you going to prison.
Yeah, being incarcerated.
Being incarcerated. How long did you spend in prison?
I spent 6 months in prison.
6 months. And then you released. But what was it like in prison? What programs were you exposed to in prison that were geared to helping you develop in certain skills and so forth to as it were prepare you for coming back out into the world?
Okay, well, the prison does have some programs going on, but I don't know, it could do better. Getting straight to the point, it could do better.
Okay.
There was only a grass cutting program, and I understand that in Belize they had the culinary arts, a small culinary arts program going on. And the thing is, it's like a very small percentage of the jail population really takes part in it.
Okay. Did you take part in any of them?
I tried to get into the grass platting program, but at the time there was no available space, and all these things are problems.
Okay. So in terms of acquiring a skill while you were there, you didn't acquire a skill?
I would not.
6 months?
I would not say that. No.
Okay. What about counseling programs?
This is something that even in prison, I was actually asked to take part in a public speaking program. Yeah, and this is one of the things that I brought up. I mean, some of the people that come to jail, right? They might be mentally challenged in some ways. They might have slight disabilities, or just the fact that they have an addiction or something. They need serious counseling. A lot of people come into jail with, alcohol addiction, marijuana addiction, cocaine addictions. These things, people, if you take a person off the street, lock them up for theft, put them in a cage, leave them there for 6, 12, 8 months, and then put them back on the street, what do you expect? Why is the exact same thing they're going to do and come back to us, going out, use, come back in again.
But at least, as you said to me, there were programs that sort of
try to get you into getting back into a
walking, but also, as you said, public speaking, which is something that requires for you to do some research, some studying, some reading, and so forth. And maybe that all those are part of the programs that are supposed to help you, right? Because I would think that if you're arrested for a particular you're sent to prison for a particular crime, then a part of the program has to be to adjust your behavior so that those things that you did that caused you to be in prison in the first place are changed so that the behavior doesn't repeat itself.
Exactly. So it wouldn't be a recurrent behavior that would put you back in the same position
Right,
that you just
exactly,
came out
that you
of.
came out. Because as we talk about second chances and as we talk about people being allowed to get back into, as much as possible, a normal life in society, one of the things that people in society would want to be assured of is that this is not the same person who went into prison. So whatever happened while they were there, the person's behavior has changed, the person's attitude has changed, and importantly, the person has also been provided with some life skills and so forth. How long have you been out?
It's about 8 months now I've been out of prison.
Okay. And what has been happening in terms of support and assistance in the same areas, skills, behavior modification, counseling, support, follow-up, have you been provided with since out?
Well, since coming out of prison, I have been taking part in a program. Currently, we're at the Community College Division of Technical and Vocational Education, and taking part in an electrical course that they're doing there. We're just finishing up the course, actually. And after this, I'm planning on doing more courses and trying to get further qualified, try to build back a little resume, qualifications to put into a resume to try and get a job. But at the same time, the stigma remains. So even if I get these qualifications, these certificates to say I'm capable of doing this, I would still have to be in a position that I have to try and be self-employed, because the stigma is that, oh, as a jailman, no matter how certified, how qualified you are, it's very unlikely that you would be given a job even though.
You and I were chatting, Barry, about the difficulty, as you just described, of getting a job. Outside of the fact that, okay, yes, you went to prison. But you said something to me a couple of days ago when we were talking that it really struck home to me. And it had to do with the fact that St. Vincent is small, and you move around, and you're dressed a particular way. Right?
Yeah.
So you are almost an easy target.
Very much so. St. Vincent's a very small island. The second you're on the back of prison transport, I mean, the kids first want to point out, look at jail, man. And everyone would know you're ex-convict by the time you reach out. Everyone would know. Even if you go and apply for a job somewhere, someone would be able to point out to the boss man, yo. And the boss man would already know this, but they would just try and emphasize, like, yo, Mr. been in jail and you sure you are hired and kind of you are them kind of any business. Like,
and this is without any care of knowing what programs you've been in, what help you've gotten, what behavior modification program you've done, the significance of your crime. They don't care.
They don't care. As long as you're considered to be a jailman, once you're ex-convict, basically you're a thief, you're a murderer, you're a rapist. Any kind of crime, you're just a criminal. That is point blank. They don't care what it is. I was charged for destruction of property, right? You know, I also had a little altercation. It turned into a physical altercation. A window got broke. I was forced to pay for the window, and I had no way of paying for the window. I couldn't afford it. So I ended up in jail. But when I come back out now, it's like, boys,
you're a criminal.
I thief or I kill or I rape or something. Like, nobody cares what you did to get there. All they know, you're...
And so we are at a situation where, because you broke a window, no, and I'm not talking about the legal aspects of it, because it's wrong. There are laws, you broke the law. And so you are punished for breaking the law. But you broke a window. And so for the rest of your life, you're scarred, you're a jail man, and the chance of being reintegrated, of getting a second chance, are slim to nil, simply because of that.
Yes, basically.
What would you like to say to anyone watching this program now who may have that attitude that, boss, he went to jail, he's a jail man, me, or he wronged me. What would you say to such a person?
Well, first of all, I would like them to go a little bit more in depth. Don't just stop at, oh, he went to jail, and rest down the person's. Try and go a little bit deeper. Why did this person go to jail? What was the circumstances surrounding it? Speak to the person, call the person, and speak to them face to face. So you would have a better understanding of what kind of person the person is. Because I don't think that I'm really like a violent person. I'm not the kind of person I would talk to and consider, oh, he's a criminal. Just as new he thought, just look at his behavior. I don't find that I'm that kind of person. But if I carry a resume, and they need a police record, all right then, he has a jail record. It's like, that's it, like, that's the end of it. But what I would like to tell them is, please be a little bit more open-minded. Try and get a little bit deeper. Don't just stop at the fact that the person was incarcerated. They need to give a second chance. Because a lot of us come out and we really put an effort into reintegrating ourselves back into society. And unless society gives us that chance, we're on a hard road.
We're going to continue this conversation, but we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be joined by the Assistant Coordinator, Director in the Gender Affairs Division. We'll continue chatting with Barry. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The future stars of Wendy's will showcase their talents in the 2018 West Indies Under-19 Cricket Tournament, August 3rd to August 30th in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Matches will be played at the Park Hill playing field, the main Arnesville playing field, the Sign Hill playing field, and the Cumberland playing field. Who will be champions? Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, the Leeward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, Canada, or hosting the Windward Islands. It's the West Indies Under-19 Cricket Tournament, August 3rd to 30th. Come see the future stars of Wendy's. On Friday, August 31st, join the Friends of Sign Hill Inc. on the boat ride, Denims and White, aboard the Golden Sunshine from Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn Pier number 9. Boarding time 6 p.m. Departure 7 p.m. sharp. Tickets at $40 available from any member of Friends of Sign Hill Inc. Music by DJ Super Eyes, D1 Entertainment, and DJ Laga. It's the boat ride, Denims and White. For more information, call 917-560-0432, 347-262-8014, or 646-248-3995. For Denims and White, you don't want to miss it.
And welcome back. For some reason, I am having a bit of a difficulty with my stream. Where are we? Because my stream is now on my personal page as opposed to Update's page. I don't understand that. All right. We have to fix that. Okay. All right. Anyway, welcome back, and thank you so much for sticking around with us on our show, Up Late with Sion Marshall. As promised, we have with us the Assistant or Deputy Coordinator
Assistant Coordinator
in the Gender Affairs Division, Mrs. LaFleur Quammie-Harry. LaFleur, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be here with us and staying up late with us tonight.
You're welcome.
All right. You listened to Barry as he spoke. As he, is it? I should be. Okay, yeah. Bunch of bloopers tonight. 1, 2, okay. Oh my Lord. Anyway, you listened to Barry as he expressed himself regarding opportunities available to him as someone who went to prison. First of all, what is your connection or your department's connection with people like Barry who would have gone to prison while they're there and after they're released?
Okay. Well, good night again. As you said, I'm the Assistant Coordinator in the Gender Affairs Division, which is a division within the Ministry of National Mobilization, Social Development, that's also responsible for the family, gender, persons with disabilities, community and cooperative development, and youth affairs. And our mandate within the Ministry of National Mobilization is to socially empower the disadvantaged and vulnerable populations in the country. So Barry, he was pulled into our program within the Gender Affairs Division in the month of June, I think, because he was referred to us from the Accounts Division, because after he was released from incarceration in February, I think, February, he sought assistance, financial assistance from us. And within the Gender Affairs Division, we have been implementing a program with effect from 2017. It's called Positive Reinforcement Program for the Rehabilitable. We call it PRPR, whereby we target persons within the prison system who are serving 1 year or less or due to be released, so that we can be able to assist with rehabilitation within the prison system and also reintegration. So bearing in mind that we are implementing that program, he was referred to us so that we can do the proper assessment. And we did a home visit at Barry's home, unannounced, because we couldn't get onto it, but we had some knowledge of where he lived. And it was in the Edinburgh area, and we did our research, we called around, and we paid a visit to his home. And we were able to conduct a profile, collect a profile of Barry and his environment and his social and living conditions. And we were able to collect some demographics and so forth, and a bit of information about what led him within the prison system, and also what skill sets he possessed prior to, within the prison system, so that we can be able to say what sort of intervention we can be able to provide to Barry right now, so that he can be able to gain income security.
Okay.
And it's interesting listening to you and Barry and stating that, you know, being a part of, being within the prison system, he's facing discrimination and stigma and so forth, and he's unable to be gainfully employed.
Right.
What we are saying is that you don't need to be employed by someone, as Sian said.
Right.
After his incident, he had to seek something being self-employed. So you use whatever skill set you have currently and build on it. All you need is the support, and that's what we are working on with you, Barry.
The challenge, though, and I hear that, the challenge, though, is the skill set that Barry has, or he's working on now, as an electrician, requires people hiring him, which is slightly different than what I'm doing because I have a talk show. Although I still ask people to stay up late with me, and they do, thank you very much. So that you empower him with these skills, and then someone hires him. Person goes to work or something, he's doing some work on the house, person goes to work or what have you. And while the person is there, or a neighbor comes over after work and everybody gone and say, the guy who was working on the house, he been in jail? Barry comes back tomorrow and is told, boss, pack up your tools, because no questions asked. Nothing. Just that. One neighbor comes over, says he was in prison, that's it. End of employment. That is the reality. So that even though we are empowering them to be self-employed, we still need to reach out and sensitize the general public of that fact that these individuals who are now coming to you, who do have a record, a criminal record, we are working with them, we've empowered them, and we are continuing to support them to ensure that they become positive and normal members of society. You know what I mean? And I think that is where to me, the issue is the need for sensitization and the need for people who are in the community, in the society, to understand that.
Yeah. I agree with you. As I mentioned, the PR program, this was in the pipeline since 2015, and we launched it in 2017 with 25 persons. That those inmates, they range from crimes or criminal offenses from rape to theft to attempted murder and so forth. And we started from them within. We did a 10-week parenting program with them, and they graduated from that. We started the counseling program, but we had a little hiccup because we couldn't see the continuity, because some of these inmates, their sentences were cut short than we had anticipated because of maybe appeal and so forth. Mm-hmm. So they were released. But prior to us going to them, we had also went out and did home visits because we got a better sense of, where they came from. Okay. So we would know upon release, they may not be able to go back into that same community, either because of their living condition or based on the crime that may have been committed within that community and may be unsafe for them to go back there. And apart from the parenting, that's just one aspect. We also have other social empowerment or therapeutic programs that we are going to be implemented within the PR program. So we have the parenting, we have therapeutic programs, we have skills training, we have social protection, which is the financial or social assistance or cash transfer that we provide to them.
Okay.
So it's a holistic program. It's not only based on their skills and for them to get employment, because if they're not mentally prepared to be rehabilitated and reintegrated, they would be repeat offenders. And that's what we're trying to prevent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned that Barry is a part of, he applied for the cash assistance.
He did. He came seeking assistance.
Okay.
He came seeking assistance, and because all the divisions know what we are doing within Gender Affairs Division or within the Ministry of National Mobilization, the Accounts Division, the Senior Assistant Secretary saw it best to refer him to us so that we can be able to intervene comprehensively, because it does not make sense providing cash.
Right.
It would not solve the problem.
Right.
So we look into his past and see how we can be able to guide him into the future.
All right. And Barry, that partnership that started with the ministry, how has that been going for you?
Well, personally, I don't know where I would have been right now without that. It's a needed help, trust me. Without getting this little bit of this training course, for example, even though I might have to be employed by someone, right? It still gives me a little bit of an edge over what I had before what I'd just been coming out of prison and trying to reintegrate back into society, and doing it by myself without any support. I mean, that is ridiculously hard. I mean, trust me, it's not easy at all. So I really appreciate what they're doing, and I hope it's just like the first couple steps in what they're going to accomplish. I would like to see this go a lot further. It's something that's really needed.
So you feel yourself more comfortable now going out there and as either as an electrician or someone to seek employment, having now been a part of this continuing program?
Yes, somewhat. Yes, and even as an individual, like, certain socials, because you need to know how to explain to people sometimes, like, the reasons why you are there, and let them understand that not everyone that comes out today is, like, jail man. Technically jail man, yeah, but not mentally.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Barry, Mrs. LaFleur, Quammie-Harry, please, round of applause. Listen, this is just getting started. We're going to take a break right now. And when we come back, we continue discussion. We would introduce to you a partner that, or an institution that's partnering with the Gender Affairs Division, providing training of life skills and so forth for not just people who would have been incarcerated or were incarcerated, but people generally. And I think the fact that these individuals, as well as, or let me put it differently, the fact that they are all put together in one class, I think goes a long way. It's like, I remember when I used to be a teacher, you used to have A and B and C, you know, so the bright ones in junior 1A, and then the mediocre ones in junior 1B, and then those who have no hope, they're in junior 1C. And I think what happened was, after a while, the ministry decided, you know, let's get away with the streaming, you know, and just mix everybody up, because people learn from their peers as well. And I think that also helped to remove the stigma, because you knew which one class was the bright class and which class was the dunce class. If you're in junior 1A, you're in the bright class. If you're in junior 1B or junior 1C, you're in the dunce class. If you're in junior 1, you're in the stream, Lord have mercy. You know? So I believe that the fact that there is a training program and the ministry has partnered with this institution and have been able to allow people who have a criminal record or are released from prison to be a part of that program with people who do not. I think if you go down there, you will be able to go, that one is a record and that one doesn't, because they're just all in a classroom together as people ordinary, just getting along, you know, as friends. So when we come back, we chat we invite Mr. Osborne Bowens. He's the Dean of the Technical Educational Division of Technical Education, yes. Thank you very much, Barry. It's a great boy, I don't know how Barry. The Division of Technical Vocational Education at the St. Vincent and Grenadines Community College. Do not go away. We would be right back.
On Friday, August 31st, join the Friends of Signal Inc. on the boat ride, Denims and White, aboard the Golden Sunshine from Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn Pier number 9. Boarding time 6 p.m. Departure 7 p.m. sharp. Tickets at $40 available from any member of Friends of Sign Hill Inc. Music by DJ Super Eyes, D1 Entertainment, and DJ Laga. It's the boat ride, Denims and White. For more information, call 917-560-0432, 347-262-8014, or 646-248-3995. For Denims and White, you don't want to miss it. the future stars of Wendy's will showcase their talents in the 2018 West Indies Under-19 Cricket Tournament, August 3rd to August 30th in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Matches will be played at the Park Hill Playing Field, the main Honestville Playing Field, the Sign Hill Playing Field, and the Cumberland Playing Field. Who will be champions? Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, the Leeward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, Canada, or hosting the Windward Islands. It's the West Indies Under-19 Cricket Tournament, August 3rd to 30th. Come see the future stars of Wendy's.
And welcome back. Okay, right. Leon. All right. So this week in the edition of Searchlight newspaper this week, tomorrow, top 3 outstanding CSEC performers of SBG name. There's a guy who got 15 ones. Like, seriously? You get some subjects nowadays, we make, this guy got 15. Who are those people? 15, all right? Police to take firm action come next Tuesday. No one will be spared, says Inspector. I'm not sure what that's about, but if you want to know, check out the Searchlight newspaper. It's already available on newsstands. Also, SBG under 14 male footballers take CFP challenge title. So the under 14 guys doing better than the big guys, but that's good. All right, all this and more in this week's edition of the Searchlight newspaper. Journalism you can trust. Check them out on newsstands, and you see the ad about the app on the website and so on. So check it out. If you are real journalism, Searchlight newspaper. Also, I didn't do this, and I must apologize, but Club St. Vincent Inc. They're having their massive cultural expo next week, Saturday, at Friends of Crown Heights, 671 Prospect Place. We know where that is. That's Friends of Crown Heights, so check that out. And it promises to be a fantastic family event, an event for the entire family. Bring your family, bring the children, spend the entire day. You don't need to cook next week, Saturday, because you can go there and get food, Vincentian, authentic Vincentian food, and snacks. So if your children don't want food, pillau and roti and them things, they can get the lighter side, sandwiches and so forth, but all authentic Vincentian food. Vincentian craft, Vincentian clothing from Vincentian designers. I spoke with Warner 2 days ago, and Warner was telling me that lots of products coming up from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So check that out. Your crafts, I go local, right? So I wear local bangles and the bamboo chains and so on. Lots of those will be there. So just go out, check it out next week, not tomorrow. Next week, Saturday, Friends of Crown Heights. It's from 12 to 9, and the contribution, because you really can't pay for something like that. $7 children, $12 adults, from 12 to 9. Check it out. Lots of entertainment, culture. right? Dennis Bowman, Saeed Panman. You have spoken word, you have poetry. Go check it out next week, Saturday. Also, and this is for me and Bowens, because Bowens, next weekend, lots of football happening. There's the international football, Jamaica guys coming here to play. And the Sunday, the big celebrity match in Chile. And guess what? I played. Oh, yeah, they call me and tell me they want me to play. So you have celebrities like Luther, Rodney Small, all those big name guys. And
so you become celebrity again?
I just played. I just played.
So you played on the other team?
I played. Yeah, the other team, but the celebrities was the others.
So why is this only for you and Bowens?
Because one of the things that separate the men from the women is sports.
No.
So you love sports?
No.
All right.
That's not good there, but...
All right, well, so next week, come on watch me up on the Chile playing field.
We run with you.
All right. So we're back, and we have with us Osborne Bowens. Osborne, first of all, tell us a bit about what's going on at the technical divisional, the Division of Technical Education, generally speaking, before we get to the specifics of tonight's show.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Marshall, for having me. As you asked, the Division of Technical and Vocational Education of the St. Vincent and Grenadines Community College, what was then the Technical College, since 1970, 1971, was an institution that offered basically skills training to all of St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Right.
Chances are somewhere around Unity you'll find a young man, a young lady that has passed through.
I did.
Right, so we have somebody that passed through the Technical College right here on my left. Quite a lot of young men, young women passed through Technical College then. Back then, in 1970s, 80s, we offered mostly evening programs where people came and got themselves developed and advanced and moved into job placement. Since the amalgamation of the St. Vincent and Grenadines Community College, we have become the Division of Technical and Vocational Education, but we still pride ourselves on the mandate that we have a responsibility to offer skills training to any individual in St. Vincent and Grenadines, regardless of the type of skill that you desire to learn, that we have the responsibility to ensure that you acquire that skill and you can become a productive citizen of St. Vincent and Grenadines. Since then, we have expanded to not just the students who come to us, but we have a responsibility to reach out to organizations, individuals, civil society groups, to find out who are the people that require these sorts of interventions, and we make sure that we do what we ought to do to make them more productive and make them viable for St. Vincent and Grenadines.
All right. So that's technical. Now, and I'm glad you make that point, boy, because technical has come a very long way. Back in the day, technical training was really for the junior 5B and C kind of students.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Those who, when we had the school even type of system, so those who went to senior 1 and senior 2, those who couldn't do very well academically, we send them to learn a trade. So they ended up at technical. But over the last couple of years, the Division of Technical Education, and I'm not talking recently, I'm talking about maybe the last 10 years or so, has really seen a high demand of not just the type of students who may only possess the minimum or not even the minimum matriculation requirements, but also children who've excelled at CSEC and O-level, CSEC and CXC Cape or whatever it is, I'm not sure.
Well, you're quite correct, sir. I mean, within the 4 divisions of the St. Vincent and Grenadines Community College, the technical division has seen the most significant in terms of how its numbers have doubled and quadrupled. What we have had, as a matter of fact, where people used to apply with 3 and 4 subjects, we have people applying with 8, 9, and 10 subjects to the technical division of the college. So that's an indication that the programs at the technical division are indeed in demand, and people are now recognizing that skills have become the new currency of the 21st century, and that with a skill you really can move far, make a contribution to life and living and productivity in St. Vincent and Grenadines. With a skill, I usually say, you retire when you want to retire, as long as you have a skill. And people with skills are normally more, they stay within their communities, build their communities, they provide for the families. We find that the research shows that even when they migrate and move away far from their families or society, they are the ones who tend to provide a lot of support for the families regardless of how far they move from. So skilled people are normally the kinds of people that you really want to invest in. And the truth is, with the expansion and the explosion in technology, you're going to require more and more people with advanced science that is going to back the sort of skills that they have. Okay. So really, that explains why we have had that sort of explosion in the number of persons who are attempting to have a technical vocational education.
All right. Now, since I've given you such an extensive infomercial on the show, you can expect my invoice.
Right, sure.
All right. All right. Now, for this summer, you're partnering with, well, you're offering a program currently at the college, and I was there at the opening.
Yeah.
But you have partnered with the Department of the Gender Affairs Department Division to allow for individuals that they're working with who have been a part of the prison system who are now out to be trained in certain skills. What led to that level of openness on your part to be so willing to partner with gender?
Okay, so I want to first of all say that the program this year, third year that we're actually running the program, right. It's sponsored this year by the Mustique Charitable Foundation, fully sponsored by the Mustique Charitable Foundation.
Right.
And where the trainees do not have to provide anything. The lunch, transportation, everything is provided for them. So that I want to say, because I really want to thank the Mustique Charitable Foundation for their intervention.
So that's two advertisements. All right. Well, that's two advertisements, so I hope my team members taking notes. All right.
Right. In terms of who we're reaching out to, I want to go back to the point that we have a responsibility to the young people of St. Vincent and Grenadines, wherever they are and whoever they are, to reach out to them and offer them some sort of engagement that they become productive citizens of St. Vincent and Grenadines. You're either going to have in St. Vincent and Grenadines people who are going to take from the system. Mm-hmm. It's either our welfare system is going to support you, mm-hmm. or we're going to help you to support yourself. And we consider what we do to be part of helping you to support yourself. And I want to say this, that we advertise these programs just about the end of June, in the middle of what we call the hype of the carnival season.
Right.
And over 4 days of the programs being out there, there are over 380 applications for what were 80 spots to be filled. Okay. Now, that's an indication that the young people that are out there are indeed looking for something to do. That, to me, first of all, was an eye-opener in terms of these young people are not just sitting on the dock and just waiting to be handed something. They're willing to find something to do. So this year, I thought of, instead of opening far and wide, let's look at places like Marion House, Gender Affairs, and the prisons. These groups, people that are normally having people come into their doors and asking for some sort of assistance. So we reach out to the Ministry of Mobilization, Gender Affairs, and they were quite willing to partner with us. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, I thought that Gender Affairs alone provided some 200 and something names for the 80 spots that we had. So we had
the Ministry of National Mobilization.
Okay, all right.
So we had Marion House and others and others and others.
Right.
But we had just over 200 names from the ministry. I thought that with that, we thought that we need to get very close to the ministry and not just help them in this particular instance, but going forward, a group of people that we work with, because we recognize that, as was said by Ms. Harry earlier on, it is not wise to have these people just handing something to them all the time, but the extent to which you can empower them with a skill. And as I indicated, skills, now the new currency of the 21st century. A young man that is empowered as an entry-level electrician, plumber, air condition technician, is somebody that in the future could really sustain himself, family, and make life and living within the society better.
Okay. How have you found, because clearly you know that you have some people there who have a criminal record.
Yes, I am aware that we have, as a matter of fact, I wasn't made aware originally, but I didn't make it my business to find out who they were.
Okay.
I knew they were there, and I just, I didn't make a big hurry up to let anybody else on the compound know that we have these people there, so that they will be treated as equally as anybody else.
And how has that been working out? Which is for me key.
It has been an excellent relationship. I am not even sure that half of the people on the compound know who these people are. I have an idea of who some of them are. I know about 3 or 4 of them. And I know one in the food prep program as an excellent young man that is doing quite well. I know a young lady in the plumbing program. That one is also quite engaged. And it really pushes me to ask the question. I mean, how is it that we want to attempt to have these people and not attempt to give them the second chance, having had their quote-unquote punishment, and I sense that we're attempting to punish them a second time.
Not just a second time, perpetually.
Yeah, condemn them to a lifetime of punishment.
Right.
Which, to my mind, I mean, an incarceration, first of all, is a recognition that you did something wrong.
Right.
You've been punished.
Right.
But that
You paid your debt to society.
Exactly. When that punishment is finished, I'm saying to you, I'm hoping that you learn from your experience. Now let us see how we can make it better. And I sense that as a society, I mean, Barry said something. Once you have been there, the road ahead is hard. The road ahead is not only hard, it's an uphill and a perpetual uphill for these people once you have been considered to be a convict. And part of what we're doing, honestly, is trying to change this, and I hope that with the ministry, employees, and everybody else, we can change this mindset and allow these people to, having paid their debt, to really function normally within society.
Mrs. Harry, you provide follow-up, at least with the students in the program. So you or at least your department liaises with the technical to ensure that the persons that you put on show up on time, they're present, and so on and so forth. How have they been responding to that training so far? Because what is this the 5th week now?
Yeah, we're into the 5th week.
Right. So 5 weeks, how have they been responding?
Well, we have program officers within the Gender Affairs Division, and as I was telling Mr. Bowens, we have 2 categories of clients who are engaged at the technical college. Mm-hmm. They are the positive reinforcement program and also the single parents program. The single mothers, we have empowerment programs solely packaged for them also that includes skills training components. So the program officers will normally follow up on them because at the inception, when they join the program, the PRPR or the single parents, we develop or establish a social contract with them, with conditions, especially if monetary assistance is provided. Mm-hmm. If we give you these sets of things, money, for a period of time, you have to do such and such.
Right.
And failure to do so, we put the money on hold. Right. It doesn't mean that we would give up on them. We normally go and we would follow up and find out, what issues they are encountering with. because especially for the former inmates, they would be most at risk for reoffending because of the stigma and discrimination, and the fact that they are, and the males, they are oftentimes pressured to be able to finance themselves and their families. So therefore, they normally look for the quick wins. They need the money now and then. No.
Right.
So even if you refer them to a training program, they need the money now. So we normally have to go and sit down with them and tell them that this is a step towards you getting your money, having your financial security, your income,
right,
to be able to take care of yourself and your family, not only for now, but going to the future. So it has been going well. They are looking forward to be placed on the attachment, and Mr. Bowens and we spoke about it a while ago,
right,
because this is a way of empowering them and ensuring that they can be future role models for other persons who are coming out of the prison.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, if I may just add, in terms of the attendance, I have found the attendance of these, the few that I know, to have been exceptional. Well, you might say that the transportation is probably a motivating factor, because you attend 5 days a week and you get paid for the 5 days a week. Your transportation refunded for the 5 days a week.
Right.
So if you may say they don't get the transportation, but I don't want to think that is the real motivating factor.
Not necessarily, because
Yeah.
they eventually spend the money anyway.
Yeah.
That's the reimbursement. So,
Right.
you know, if they don't want to come, the fact that you're going to give them back the money that they spend is not going to tell them to come. So it shows from where I sit.
Commitment.
Yeah.
Commitment.
They're quite committed to the program, and they're quite engaged, as I said, producing quality work, and I hope that they will be recognized for it at the end of the day. And recognized meaning that society and the people that we are going to send them to will recognize that these are people that we can invest in and continue to support, so that they get the chance.
Permit me to say, right?
Please.
We have a culture in St. Vincent Grenadines where it's very punitive in nature.
Right.
Because I'm heavily involved also in the juvenile justice reform, whereby we want to give second chances to children who would have fallen in conflict with the law.
Right.
So we speak about diversion, rehabilitation, and reintegration. So with juvenile justice reform and the positive reinforcement program, we have to be heavily engaged in terms of community sensitization. Because in order for them to be reintegrated back into society, back into the same communities where they have so much of peer pressure and, things that may pull them back into their old ways and so forth, we have to go out and engage with these communities and tell them that they need to be supportive of these persons, give them a second chance. It was earlier this year, last year, I believe, that we had this young man on the program. He went to grammar school, he reached as far as to Form 5, but he was engaged in fighting and he was suspended and then expelled. He did not continue his education, and he went into a life of crime. While being incarcerated, he did his CCLSC, he passed it, and I think he got Maths and English at CXC level, and he really wanted to change. Upon release, I engaged him into the YES program. We got approval for it, but I couldn't find any placement to employ him. No one was willing to take him, especially if you disclose the fact that he's a former inmate. And the thing is, with dealing with prisoners or former inmates, you have to be able to be there for them at the first 3 months per se after release. Otherwise, you lose them. When I eventually got a placement, I couldn't find him. So when you see that they are confined within the prison system, you could get them to do anything you want, because that's what they are there for. But they need to get the support as soon after to be able to steer them into the right direction. Otherwise, you lose them.
That is critical. I got some staggering information that suggests repeat offenders are about between 65 and 70%.
Yes.
I mean, 65 to 70% of the people who come out of prison are likely to go right back in. And unfortunately, our society is partially and maybe significantly the reason for that. Because we deprive them of a second chance. And you know, we love to call ourselves a Christian society. Christianity talks about forgiveness, 70 times 7. Anyway, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not even going to get into that. But I'm really happy that the technical division is on board with the ministry in providing these life skills for former inmates. And even the term sounds stigmatizing, you know what I mean?
So if I may just say quickly, one of the things that they're supposed to go out on a 2-week attachment.
Right.
And as the college, as I said to Ms. Harry, we normally send our full-time students out on an attachment.
Right.
We have them for 2 years, so we kind of know who they are. I was struggling with the thought of knowing who we are dealing with in terms of a society and employers, knowing who we are dealing with, how it might impact the college's relationship with. And should I say to people, I'm sending you a former inmate, all that I struggled with to decide. Having trained a young man or young woman for 5 weeks and having seen their potential, do I risk sending them out there and somebody finds out later on that he or she is what he or she was, and then that impacts negatively on what we consider to have been our relationship with industry.
Could lead towards discrimination on the part of the employer also. Because when you identify, and this is something the program officer and I, we sat down and said that maybe in the future we would not identify that they were former inmates. That would help with the decrease in the level of discrimination and stigma. Just refer them as a client of gender-based division, because the program does not ask about your criminal record.
But you know that raises something that Barry raised. And you remember Mrs. Harry, that when we spoke on the phone and you expressed the need as well for discretion because of the client, and I said to you, but we live in a society where, as Barry pointed out, it's small and people don't know. And so non-disclosure in the inception can be seen as deception later on and be grounds for dismissal. So where do we go? We say, let's keep it quiet that they're former inmates and they have a record. But 2 months down the road, somebody says something and the boss goes, "Boss, you're in jail, so why didn't tell me that? Why wasn't I informed?" Well, you're fired because you did not disclose that in the beginning.
But that's if the information is requested in the form in the beginning.
But you know things are in the beginnings, right?
I understand, but we have to be able to provide for everyone, because there are some persons who they may have been charged and nobody knew that they were in prison and so forth. And they went and lived good lives and so forth. So why discriminate?
And I'm all for you. I don't think there should be. Especially when an effort is being made. You know, the person comes out, they're part of a program, they're doing skills training, counseling, there's follow-up. I mean, what would it take from you to give that person a chance?
Let me say something as well, because I heard a story tonight. You know, I met Barry before, where I heard, Barry went to prison for breaking a window.
Yes.
Petty crime.
Prison for breaking a window.
That's the point.
And then,
but he's perpetually punished for breaking a window.
Something has got to be wrong with that. I mean, he didn't hold anybody at gunpoint, and he didn't. I don't know. We have to consider. I know crime, maybe crime is crime. He broke the law.
But crime is crime, but there are levels of crime.
Exactly.
That's why there are levels of punishment.
So therefore, I mean, is it reasonable to say that we consider that we give an indication of, I mean, here is somebody who was punished his crime was considered petty crime, and therefore that person probably has an easier path to, I don't know. But we can't lump them all together. That's the point I'm making. We can't lump them all together.
We shouldn't lump them all together.
We should not.
Let me take the final break. This is a really good chat. When we come back, we finish up with Mr. Bowens and Mrs. Harry. And also, we round up the program. You're going to hear from Christian Mark as well tonight. He's going to perform live for us. He was off a couple of shows, but he's back and he's going to perform live for us at the end of the show. But this is Up Late with Sion Marshall. Thank you so much for sticking around. Don't go away. We're going to be right back.